All right, guys, welcome to our second episode of Six Packs and Racks. We're glad you're here joining us. Hopefully, you can sit down, forget about whatever crap you have going on in your life, and just enjoy some time with the boys here, chilling out. Today, we have JP, Brennan, Mike, Scott, and I. Dylan is on a special project with his wife. Comstock is skipping out as always, probably wearing some sweatpants laid up on the couch.
Watching Netflix.
Watching
Netflix
The Office.
Drinking wine.
We are coming to you from Friday night, and you probably can figure that out. But tonight we're going to start with our opening segment, Hitting the Scrape, which is our version of a roll call, kind of a where you at, what are you up to at the moment type of thing. Tonight we're going to open up with Brennan and Mike. Where are you boys at? What are you doing other than wearing matching shirts and sitting on a plaid couch?
I didn't even realize. That's a nice couch, dude. We're in North Dakota, Camp Dakota for the weekend. We kind of mentioned it in our last podcast. We were out here doing some shed hunting this weekend, filming a little project for one of our new partners, Base Map. And we're just trying to scoop some antlers.
Just kicking it here in North Dakota. This is probably as close as it gets to home away from home for a lot of the Breaking Point crew. We built this thing, I think, 2 seasons ago now, and probably one of our favorite places to hang out.
We should show them the new edition.
Yeah, why don't you guys, while we got a second here, are you mobile enough to give us a little tour?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll just
So here's the front entrance. We got a charging station over here where we charge all of our camera gear when we're out here producing show in the fall. Got our board of all of our spots where we keep track of all of our cameras, all of our intel. Coming around this side, we got our dart board.
That's where Brennen loses.
Thermometer. We got our loft up here where all the beds are. Got one on this side too. Couch for chilling. TV back here. We got a DVD player and our newest edition right here. Brought out my original Sony PlayStation and N64.
That's awesome.
Got a boatload of games for us to play, boys.
You forgot an important part, dude. You got to show them the pizza.
Well, I was getting there. I'm only halfway.
Oh, all right.
So we got the pizza oven here.
And all the pizzas that we've ever eaten, right here. I'd have to count them up, but we're over 100.
We got our
That's kind of our bragging
board. We're a few behind right now. I think we got 5 or 6 to add on there for the year, but a little bit of storage.
This here, we call this the poop. So whenever none of us are really hard liquor guys. We're all beer drinkers, but we always keep a bottle of liquor up here. And if you kill, everyone has to take a shot. We call it the poop. So if someone kills, it's time for the poop.
So then you sign the bottle.
All the initials for all the bucks that have died due to the poop that you drink.
So every bottle has signatures, and then
labeled.
whoever finishes the bottle from that kill has to buy the next one. So, and then
What's up with all the chip clips? You guys got a serious collection of chip clips up there.
Well, as you can see, we like chips. You can never have too many chip clips.
We
Don't want
got
to go
here
stale, bud.
our camp journal, where every time we come out, you document who was here, what you're doing, all that fun stuff. And then Dylan's got his little scrapbook, Life of Lens, of all of his
Very nice
disposable photos.
There's Dylan.
He'll be on this podcast someday. But up above we got a 4-bed loft. So that's pretty much a quick tour here. But
very nice. Well, how did your day go today?
Well, sitting right behind us. We had a pretty solid day of walking. We hit up one spot here when we got here about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hit up one spot, walked it for a couple hours, and we actually kind of quick. When we were out here coyote hunting last time, we kind of quick burned through it and found a couple antlers. There was some UTV tracks in there as well. Doesn't look like nothing fresh as of late, but we walked for a couple hours and kind of met up and weren't finding anything. We were kind of shocked. So we split up once more, and I walked like 20 yards from where we first split, and I found this 5-point side right here. Biggest one of the day here. But he's a pretty cool
Not
buck.
bragging.
No, not at all. It's actually probably close to one of my biggest antlers, so pretty happy about it. But he's got a pretty cool base to it. So
That's awesome.
I was super jacked when I found that one. Didn't know it. Like, it was kind of covered up in the snow, so it just looked like basically like that until we pulled it out. But
That is sweet.
pretty solid North Dakota deer.
Is that chewed down by the base?
No,
That's what I thought.
it
too.
broke. It actually, I think it just broke off here in like summer must have been summer or fall.
It almost looks like at the base of it. It almost looks like you'd stretch like silly putty. It's like smooth.
Huh.
Pretty
Yeah,
gnarly.
it's a really weird antler.
pretty gnarly.
But yeah, it was sweet. So we hopped over to another spot, and that's where we cleaned up pretty good on that property.
You think a buck like that had pedicle damage, like from a fight or something?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what would cause something like that. I don't know. I kind of think that, like, when they're in the early stages of velvet, I'm wondering if they bumped it on something.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think of, because it's not like,
It's almost like it got bumped as it was growing here and started going this way a little.
yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, I got to grow that way.
I had a buck on camera in Iowa. Actually, there's actually some really good video clips of the particular buck I'm talking about hitting wild carrot, hitting a scrape in the summer. And his antler, he must have bumped it when he was in the early stages of velvet, and his antler grew down and like out. And it was like a perfect 4-point or 5-point antler. It was just, it grew the wrong way.
Huh.
So the only thing I can think is it bumped it in early velvet stage, and it just kept going. So who knows?
So long story short, I'm up 1 on the shed count for the day. I should be up 2. But
What do you mean you should be up 2?
You kifed one on me. Whatever. We got to a spot, and I was walking this. There was a winter wheat.
There's 2 sides to every story.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell my side.
Two years next.
So there's a winter wheat field, and I'm walking the edge of it, and I glass a spot, and I'm like, Brennan, I'm pretty sure I see a shed laying over there. So then, in the meantime, I look over to the right, about 125 yards away, I pick one out over here. That one was closer, so I walk over to that one first, so he keeps walking. You found 2 sheds.
That's what you do when you shed hunt. You keep walking.
Yeah, but listen to the rest of my fucking story. So I keep walking. He keeps walking, finds 2 antlers. Well, I picked this one up, and we're filming this for base map. Pick this antler up. I start walking over to where I last seen. He's like, "Well, you're gonna have to choose which one you want, because there's 2 laying there." I'm like, what the fuck? I seen where the one was laying in the first place, and you were gonna take one of these cocksuckers on me now?
No. He said, I think I see an antler over there.
I said, I'm pretty sure it
I'm
is.
pretty sure it's an antler. Okay. You're pretty sure there's an antler over there. I walk over, I find another one on the way, or I find 2 more on the way.
Found 2 on the way.
And then I'm walking.
There's a
I'm like,
match set laying.
Yeah, but this is irrelevant right now. I said, Mike, there's antlers over here. Or I said, there's antler over here. He goes, yeah, that's the one I seen. I'm like, how many did you see? Oh, I seen 1.
It was fucking 300 yards away. How many do you think I could see?
Exactly. You need to
I got
learn.
the initial spot on him.
Hey, don't you guys have a vortex sponsorship? Can't you use your glass?
Yeah, that's how I found both of them.
Exactly. A little salty
Oh,
over
man.
a year and a half old shed.
Well, I understand.
All that matters is I
It's
still
all
got
about
the
the
lead.
numbers. It's
All
all
that
about the
matters
numbers.
is still got the lead, and I still got the biggest one on the trip. So
He's got some pretty lofty goals for this year, so maybe
Yeah,
you should just
that'd-
let him have it.
that'd got me to double digits today.
Yeah. What are you trying to find this season? What did you say last week?
50.
50, man. I'm hoping to find 5. If I find 5, I'll be happy.
I don't think I've had a year where I broke 5, so setting it high.
All right. You guys good? You got anything else
Yeah,
for us?
we're good now.
All right. You got it out of your system?
That's our roll call.
You guys look cute, by the way. Beautiful.
I wish
JP,
we
what
could-
about you, man?
We should wear
Oh,
we should
I
wear
can actually-
suspenders when we do this next time.
JP, man, what about you?
Are
It's
you going to let
great.
me fill you in? Earlier you said you weren't even going to interview me.
I was kidding. You know it's all love. I just saw that flag hanging in the back. Figured I didn't want to hear shit you had to say.
Yeah, Spitzley doesn't like where
Agreed.
I'm at right now, but it's okay. No, I'm over in East Lansing, Michigan, on Michigan State's campus. My brother goes to school over here, so it's his birthday on Sunday. So I came over, brought a couple of his buddies, and we're just hanging out, having fun. I'm a little old for this scenery, but it's all right. So nothing
I think-
hunting related this weekend, but
I think half of the attendees in Michigan State are 35 and up, so no big
I was
deal.
going to say, what are you, 35?
He's like 8 years younger than all of us. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say I am a young gun yet.
JP, so that's it, man. You're over in East Lansing.
That's
hanging
it.
out with
I'm
your
over
brother?
here. You gotta take the downtime to hang out with family. That's the way I look at it. So
That's good.
over
Can't
here,
beat it,
spend the
man.
weekend with them and hang out, and then it's back to reality on Sunday.
Very
After
cool.
you
yeah,
sold
after
it
you're off Monday too.
Yeah, I'm off Monday, but I'll probably end up at Mike's if he allows me to come up. Not-
Yeah, we're doing it. We got a bunny hunt. We got a bunny hunt on Monday.
Nice.
Are we still
Yeah.
doing that?
Oh yeah.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right,
Awesome.
Spitzley. Spitzley, what are you up to, man? Where are you at?
I'm at home too, actually, with family. I'll be gone all next week. So, besides hanging out with you guys, I'll be here spending time with family this weekend. And we don't really have any other plans. Probably going to go out to eat tomorrow.
Where are you going?
That's about it. I've
Where you
got
going?
I've got some gift cards to B-Dubs and then Dick's or Dickies. I've never heard of that.
Oh,
Card
Dickie's
to
Barbecue.
Dickies barbecue. Yep, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
I got a gift card for dicks. Spend
know
it
that's-
wisely.
Big dick swinging.
I know
Oh,
you're lying
shoot.
because you would not hold a gift card like that for long.
Oh man.
No,
Yeah,
Dickie's
Dickie's
barbecue.
barbecue.
Yeah,
Is it
we
good?
have that. We have it down here. It's pretty good. If you're into
So-
chain restaurant barbecue garbage, then yes,
Mhm.
it's delicious.
Yeah. Next week I'm actually going to film the Squirrel Master Classic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that now. I forget.
Bone collector, right?
Yes, sir.
Big stuff, man. Big things popping for Spitzley.
So is that? I know that they obviously endorse Gammo. Does everyone in the competition shoot BB guns, or are there like 22s and shotguns and stuff like that?
Good question.
It's all
Actually,
air rifles.
is it air
It is?
rifle? Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, Gammo
I'm not
puts
sure.
the
This
event
is-
on.
Got it.
Yeah. This is
I
my
was curious
first year
about that.
filming it, so
I told you boys last week. I'm deep in the squirrel world now, man.
I was gonna. Yeah, you did.
No, I just happened to see that on Facebook. I think last year I watched that a little bit, the Squirrel Master. It looked like a good time.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
excited.
Mostly I'm trying to figure out how I can cook squirrels because we're going to probably be killing a bunch of them.
Talk to Dylan. I think Dylan's got some good squirrel recipes.
Yeah.
I think most of them involve the slow cooker though, because if you cook
Yeah.
squirrel fast,
Yeah.
it's not any good.
Well, when
Yeah,
we had
like
him
a
on
stew or
yesterday,
something.
he was it gets a little tough and dry if you're not careful with it, I know, but
Yeah.
yesterday he was mostly talking about cooking that owl he's got at his house.
An owl?
Owl.
Does he have an owl mount or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I remember seeing that in his basement.
Yeah, we start talking about how trophies can bring back good memories, and he turned around, he's like, I remember the time I shot that owl.
He tell you the story about how he had like a pet. I think he had a pet raccoon, a pet crow, a pet squirrel. Like he's weird like that. He likes
He's told me that.
taking animals under his wing.
He's told me that before. I think when we were up there at Strut Zone, but not yesterday. But he did fill us in on the backstory on how he got that owl mount, which is pretty good. You guys will have to tune into episode 1.5 to figure that out. All right, this week for me on hitting the scrape, just a lot of work, man. We're closing out the week. Obviously, it's Friday, so tomorrow, a lot of Saturdays I do work, but tomorrow I'm not. We're having a big birthday party for my oldest son. He turns 9 on Sunday, but we're going to have the party tomorrow, and he requested a creek party, so we are going to have his friends over and catch crawdads and salamanders and mud puppies and stuff like that in the creek. And that's his favorite thing to do. So
I wish I could be doing that right now.
yeah, it'll be a good time. Well, it's
Oh,
been
12 degrees here.
yeah.
Can we,
Well,
can we come to your birthday party?
absolutely. Up until just a few days ago, we had nice warm temperatures and things were looking real good. But then today I woke up and it was 24. So I got a little worried, but I think the high tomorrow is 54, so should be decent. The party's not till 4 o'clock, so I think we'll be all right. But that's what I'm up to right now. And then Sunday, I have a jiu-jitsu tournament that I am looking forward to. It'd be my first one, so I'm pretty excited, man. I've got, I think I have 6 matches, which will probably wear me out, and I definitely have at least one Brazilian dude that I got to try and choke to death. So we'll see how that goes.
What were those brackets that you were sending to us? I
That's
thought
the
you were
That's
like,
it, man.
so
That's
you're
it.
okay. I thought that was like, I thought you were sending those like as you were like going to the next round. I'm like, dude,
He's in the
kicking
Sweet
ass.
16 already.
I thought he was in the Final Four. I thought you won at least
No.
4 times.
Well, it's just preemptive. You know, I'm just planning it out in my mind. That's what I'm going to be
Cinderella
sending you on
story.
Sunday afternoon.
Comes out of nowhere.
It ain't real until you hold up the big bracket board.
I
that
hear
says
ya.
you're the winner.
I hear you.
Karate
I'm
Kid.
excited. I got bumped down. There were no other registries that were of my age and weight class in my division, so they bumped me down into the younger kids, which will be exciting.
You're gonna
So
beat
I'm
up
gonna
little
be
kids.
no, not kids. I'm up against like the 24 to 28-year-olds who train every day because they still live with their parents.
So
And I'm
kids compared to you.
yes, kids compared to me, but they'll probably be a bunch of savages. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I'm not like anticipating bringing anything home, but it was something that I signed up originally to do with my 2 boys, but then they had the flu for most of January and missed training, so they decided on their own that they wanted to wait till the next tournament. So they're just going to come and watch and give them an opportunity to see their dad get his ass whooped, I guess. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see who's holding that gold medal come Sunday afternoon.
I feel like it has to be in the next podcast, like a picture of the results. Like there's at all the wrestling tournaments, there's all those stairs where first place stands up high, and then there's always that 5th place with a ribbon down low.
Yeah.
I want to see a picture of the results from the weekend.
I'll have my wife take a picture of me kicking the first place dude off the top. No, it should be fun, man. I'm excited, looking forward to it. I'm all about new experiences. It's something I've been training for, not necessarily for competition, but I've been training for about a year just to try and be a good example for my kids of it's good to get out and do some shit that makes you uncomfortable because it helps build you up as a person, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's it for me for my hitting the scrape, man. All right, next up, for our second segment of the night, we've got Send It or Save It. You guys might remember this from last time. Send it being something you would fire your shot at, which is a thumbs up. Save it being something you would save your shot for the next opportunity. Tonight's topic is aged venison. Do you guys age your venison? Do you like aged venison? Do you prefer it? If you do age it, how so? JP, we're going to crank this one off with you, big man.
I'll say I gotta send it. So I do age it if I can, as far as I'll hang it for about a week. And that's just because my dad used to do it when I was growing up, especially after gun season when it's cold. He'd hang it in the garage and he'd let it hang for a week or 10 days if he could. And that was just, I think, because of the fact that we were hunting still after you shot a deer. So why not wait till the end and cut them up? And it wasn't harming the deer at all. So as long as you have the right temperature, I like to try and let them hang as long as they can. It just seems that the meat gets tenderized more and it comes out a little better. But the problem you run into is, we're hunting early season, stuff like that, or out of state. So a lot of times we don't have that ability to do that. But if I can, I'll hang them and let them just sit there for a week or so, then cut them up. I totally agree with that. It turns out a little better, I think.
I'm with you, man. Growing up in Michigan, it was commonplace. Like, it was always cold enough you could just shoot a deer and leave it hanging for however long, like you said, until you got around to cutting it up. And I think that was more a product of convenience than anything back in the day. And now it seems to be a hot topic or a trending thing to age your venison. But it's funny to me because it's nothing new. Like, everybody's dads, everybody's grandpas used to do that as just a commonplace thing. That's just the way you did it because it allowed you more time in the woods, you know.
For sure.
But all right, Brennen and Mike, you're up next. What do you think about aged venison? Is it something you're going to send a shot, or are you going to save it for another opportunity?
I'm going to agree with JP as far as if time allows for it. I grew up, my grandpa, none of my family was, my dad bow hunted and everything, but obviously coming from Wisconsin, gun season was a big deal. Still is. It's a huge tradition. But as far as my family goes, how we did it for gun season, any deer that got shot during gun season, we'd hang it, and we wouldn't worry about it until the season, mostly because we knew there was more deer that were going to get shot. And so, yeah, most of the deer would hang for, 7 to 9 days, I would say, maybe 10. But like JP said, when we're on the road and it's early season and it's warm, a lot of the time we're forced to cut the deer up almost immediately. But if I can allow for it, which doesn't happen very often, I will let it hang for a few days. But I'm not gonna lie, most times it's cut up in on ice within 24 to 48 hours.
So do you guys go ahead, Mike? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm good.
I was just wondering what your thoughts are. Like, it sounds like it's something that you'll do when convenient, but when you're on the road and you're packing into coolers, do you ever lay onto an ice bed and let it age that way? Like when you're traveling home, is that meat aging in the cooler?
Well, I guess you're right. We don't always debone it per se. We more or less quarter it and get the quarters on ice.
Doesn't it have to bleed out to age though?
No.
Isn't that part of like the process of it?
Well,
you hanging it is like it's supposed to bleed out.
Listen, you're getting a little too nuanced for me. No, I don't. People will say that, but back in the day, they used to just kill something and take a bite right out of it. So I don't want to get that specific. But I think if you're quartering something, then it's going to produce the same effect as if it were hanging. Because most guys, like you're talking about letting it bleed out, a lot of guys hang a deer up by the neck, and it's not going to, that's not really going to bleed out the same as if you hung it up by the back legs.
Yeah.
So I think you're getting the same effect on the actual protein structure of the meat if you're quartering it, laying it on a bed of ice in a cooler. So in theory, you guys are kind of doing that too, right? When you're bringing it home, it's.
So I guess this is a good point because I do this a lot. So we'll shoot a deer. Typically, if we kill a deer, we're on the road within 12 hours. Typically, unless we have 2 tags for that area. Typically, we shoot a deer. The next day, we're on the road and we're home that day. So it's on ice in a cooler for 24 hours. You might get home and throw it in like a chest freezer. You wrap it in garbage bags or what have you, and you throw it in a chest freezer, and you might not cut it up for a week or maybe 2. Is that aging it if it's in a chest freezer?
No, I think once it's frozen, it's not having the same effect.
I gotcha.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, I would say more times than not, when we shoot one on the road, we're usually on the road the next day. So we're throwing it on ice and then cutting it up when we get home.
So more times than not, your meat has at least a couple days before it hits the freezer.
Yes, I would say that's accurate. Yeah.
Mancl.
I'm gonna
Tell
save
me more.
I'm gonna save it.
Why is that?
I've never. I guess part of it's just how I grew up with the whole hunting processing setup that we had. A little bit different than everyone else. With my dad, with having a grocery store there, we had the capability of we had stuff at home and stuff where we could process meat pretty quick and get it packed up and everything. So it was kind of at his convenience whenever he could do that. I usually ran the skinning, quartering process, and then my dad would do a lot of the grinding, packaging, everything else. So it was just once we got a deer shot, I did my part, and then he would later do his. So we never really got into doing the aging thing. And then me personally, I've tasted both, and I can't tell a difference. If you prepare a deer a certain way correctly, I don't think you can tell a difference. But that's just my personal input on it. So I just don't really see the need for it. For me. But
I'm with Mike on that. If you use enough butter and onions, all the
well, and if you cook it a certain way, if you're cooking it right, it's gonna stay tender.
Yeah,
I hear you.
So
do you do much roast? Do you cook a lot of roast or no?
I've done more now in the last couple of years than I ever have. I don't go crazy with it. We grind a lot just because me and my wife, we use a lot of ground venison for burgers, and it's just you can burn through. When you're shooting 4 or 5 deer a year, hopefully, or more. You get a lot of meat. Like that's all we eat all year long. So we want to make sure coming into the next hunting season, we don't have anything else left. So we try to make our meat or process it in ways that we know we're going to use it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways that we like eating it, I guess, is just doing burger or using it for tacos or whatever. So
you can't beat ground, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we are. 4 kids. You can't beat ground meat, man. You meatloaf, tacos, burgers. It's just
nachos.
There's just so much you can do with it, So
between ground and jerky, there's not much deer left. Usually, What about you, Spitzley?
I'm with Mancl. I'm gonna save it. I can't really tell the difference, honestly. I do, however, have the luxury of being able to keep my deer in a cooler, but it's kind of more of like a tradition, as you will, with me and my friends. So whenever we're able to get together and cut up deer together and drink beer, we're gonna do it then. So if that is the night of us shooting a deer, we'll do it the night of. We'll put our inner loins on the grill and fry them up with onions and butter, and that's the way to do it to me. I do a lot of 90% of my meat is ground, and then I do my back straps as steaks. I mean, with ground, obviously you're not going to taste a difference. With back straps, steaks, if you cook them the right way, like they said, they're not going to taste any different than aging.
Yeah.
So that's my go on it.
The quartering process is just 10 times easier too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I love shooting a deer and skinning it, quartering it right away because everything literally falls right off.
Yep.
All the skin falls right off. Everything comes with their back straps. You don't even once you get the initial slit on a back strap, you can use your hand to pull the whole thing right out, and there's not a lick of meat left. Like, or you're not wasting anything. Comes right
And
off.
the inner loins, you got to have those right away. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Does anybody actually throw inner loins in a freezer? That'd be a damn shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a shame. I hope not.
I don't think I have.
I mean,
I
cook them at home if no one else is available, but otherwise we're cooking those right away.
Yeah, within like 24 hours, you almost have to
Exactly.
eat those.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just tip my head back and drop them right down as soon as I pull them out. No,
Way to do it.
for me, I like to save the inner loins for breakfast. Honestly,
Yes,
I think there's nothing better than those inner loins with eggs, man.
Oh yeah.
Just one of the best meals ever. But I'm gonna go ahead and send my shot on aging venison just because I like Spitzley. I have the luxury of hanging deer in a cooler. We with Wild Carrot, we have a couple walk-in coolers that we use for our products that we also use for beer and deer. So it's something that we are able to do, like, and it's honestly probably carries over from living up in Michigan when we could just hang them, you know, during gun season when it was cold enough and get to them when we could. Just kind of the tradition of that, the convenience of that. Now we just bring them home after we kill something, throw it up in the cooler, and then when we get to it, we like to have a few deer at least hanging in there, and then we'll process them all at once. It just makes everything easier. You know, you're not cleaning that grinder out several different times throughout the season. You're just cleaning it out once for several deer. So we'll get a lot of jerky, get a lot of ground meat. We like to do a lot of roasts, slow cook some roasts. Back straps obviously go to steaks, but I like the idea of aging it, but only because it makes it easier, I guess, when it comes time to process. That's the biggest thing for me, you know, being able to do 2 or 3 of them, 4 of them at one time. And we've actually got my dad's got a doe that he shot in October, I think, that's still hanging in the cooler at his house. And I'm going to go tomorrow, my son's birthday. Like I said, we're doing kebabs, and I'm going to carve off some of that bad boy and cook her up. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm obviously going to do some backstrap kebabs without telling any of the guests that they're eating 3-month age venison. So
I've honestly never even heard of aging it that long.
Really?
No, I mean,
Now is that?
What's that?
I was gonna say something smart. Now is that just laziness or because you're so busy?
No, it's honestly bad hunting, I guess, on my part, because he's like, I got a doe and I'm gonna hang her, and when you shoot something, we'll cut them up together, and I never shot him.
He's still waiting for you to shoot something.
yeah. But I'm not afraid of. There's nothing wrong with the meat that's been hanging that long, as long as it's been hanging in the right conditions. And this is a walk-in cooler with airflow. Like, the meat's good quality.
Bacteria is not going to grow when it's under a certain temperature.
Yeah, as long as you cut the hard, dark stuff off, you'll be good.
Yeah, the rind. I'll cut the rind off and make some kebabs out of probably. I think the back straps are still on her, so that's going to be what I go for. So I'm actually pretty excited about doing that. I'll probably make a little video and we can share that later.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll catch a video like one of my wife's friends eating a kebab.
Get him running to the bathroom like half hour later.
Oh man, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it on a Saturday. Got that big tournament on a Sunday, so I have that much faith that it's not gonna do anything to me. I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
We'll find out next week.
It'll be airing on Monday.
Monday when we record our episode, I'm gonna wear that medal. All right, guys. Next up, we got a segment we like to call Busted Tines. Busted Tines is just something that gives us an opportunity to kind of go around the circle and fill everybody in on something that's been a huge pain in the ass for us lately. Spitzley, I'm going to start with you on this one. What's your busted tine this week? Something that's been causing you a lot of heartache or strife?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, my man.
Try dealing with this podcast.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
you guys, I'm actually having fun doing this stuff. Like when I comment stuff like that, I'm kidding. Like I love doing this stuff. So don't think that I don't like it. You know what I mean? And um, so I don't have a pain in the ass right now.
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh well, wedding planning, I guess.
There you go. There's always something.
That's pretty stressful.
You're getting married how far out?
My wedding is May 30th. So I got
99 days.
99
Still-
days, yeah.
Still
You knew
turkey
that.
season.
Josh seen the Facebook post.
Yep.
No, I'm good with math, man. I'm good with math.
No, you're not.
Forgot about that. That's funny.
I was pretty impressed at that. I was like, damn, he's good.
You know what's funny is I was tagged in that and I forgot how many days it's been. I had to look at my watch.
Luckily, your future in-laws
You
are
got
not
to
going
count
to
down
watch
on the watch.
this.
But
All
yeah,
right, well,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, man. No, I was just gonna say that's a good one, man. That's that can be stressful for sure. JP, what do you got for busted tines? What's something that's been a big pain in your ass lately, other than being in East Lansing?
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. To drive over here just to know you're coming here just to
Just the
drink
fact that
and
you know
hang
that
out
you're
with
at
your
Michigan
brother.
State.
Come on now. I'm not at Michigan or your house, so I'm not complaining. No, I wouldn't say I have too big of a pain in the ass, but the only thing that's been kind of crazy the last week or so is just like we talked about, Brennan and Mike and I, the last week or so is just we're in that finalizing stage of getting all of our apparel and everything ready for show season. And so with that comes a lot of phone calls, it's not just me making the decisions. So it's calling Mike, Brennan, Dylan, then calling the guy that's doing everything and just trying to get everything squared away because we have a show in 14, 15 days and we have yet to have our apparel out, in my hands ready to go. So, and not only that, it's trying to get this booth, up and running and make sure everything's good to go. Mike and Brennan are going to be showing up to the show without me there Thursday. So now we got to get the booth with these guys, set it up, make sure everything's good to go, and just kind of go through everything one last time. So that way when they show up, it's good to go. So it's not a pain in the ass really. It's just the stuff that needs to get done and get prepared for show season. And it's all gonna fall into place, but it's hectic right now. So no big deal. We'll power through and it'll be good. So
Yeah, I guess we should call it what's a major challenge instead of a pain in the ass. I
Yeah,
understand
because
that.
I didn't want to say that, doing work is a pain in the ass. I mean,
right.
we signed up for it. You know what I mean?
I'm too easygoing to complain or say stuff's
That's
a pain
not
in my
complaining.
ass.
We're not complaining,
so.
man. That's
No,
not a
I
complaint.
mean, I think a lot of people are like that, It's not really a pain in the ass, but when it comes down to just BSing with your buddies, it's a pain in the ass.
That's what we're
Yeah.
doing, right?
That's the truth, right?
All right, I'll go on my rant then. This fucking podcast sucks, bro. I've been up 48 hours actually. I've slept probably 5 hours in the last 2 fucking nights trying to get this shit going.
We
We love you for it.
We appreciate you, brother.
I
We
was
do.
just kidding.
Thanks, Spitz.
Yeah. Don't get upset
Your
if we tell you
efforts
this.
don't go unnoticed.
No,
That's
not
right.
at all.
Cheers to Spitzley.
That's right, man.
I even drove all the way to Michigan just to cheers you, so appreciate it.
What? You're like an hour from me, so we should probably be drinking beers together.
That's right. Maybe tomorrow.
You are. All right, B, Mike, what do you guys got going on that's a challenge? Or
My challenge and pain in the ass is trying to scoop more sheds than this guy right now.
Here we go again.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My challenge this week is I kind of mentioned it last time in the podcast. We are like in full blown editing season right now. Between editing our Breaking Spring series and just about getting going on our Breaking Point season 7. And in the meantime, we're also producing content for sponsors. And then we're doing vlogs. We're doing podcasts now. There's other video work I know I'm missing, and then on the other side of our Black Stamp Media business. So I mean, there's just a lot of stuff moving right now, and a lot of editing going on and organizing, and it's a lot to handle. But you know, I love doing it. Love being at home too. You know, it's nice. It's fun being on the road. You know, throughout the fall and everything. But it is nice to work from home 5-6 days a week now finally, and not being just constantly go. I mean, I'm go at home, but
It's better at home.
Better at home
than
than
a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, at a 9 to 5. So that's pretty much my pain in the ass lately. Is just there's a lot of moving parts in the business that we got, and just trying to keep them all in order. So
Yeah. What are you guys doing outside of the hunting industry for Black Stamp currently? I mean, I know you guys do Country Boom. That's coming up before too long.
We do Country Boom.
Which
Dylan
is what?
just started. It's a country music festival down in Southwest Wisconsin. This will be our 3rd year doing that. Dylan works for a couple other clients down there, Jeff Sturgis, and then started working for doing some stuff actually with Field and Stream, some of the hunting expos. And then kind of around by me, we do a lot of work for like local businesses, as far as anything promotional, advertising, content creation for them, or like training videos. I mean, it's anything photo media related to help them either grow their brand or something internal. So, and then, you know, on the side, we will do an occasional wedding here and there too, just wherever we can. You know, we have all the gear to do it. So if someone hits us up, we're gonna try and make it happen. So
where would they do that?
Hit us up right on Facebook on Black Stamp Media, or on
social
Instagram.
media is probably the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit us up. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. You guys do some killer work.
Yeah,
the coverage you guys did at Country Boom was awesome. I watched a lot of that.
That was a fun time. That was the first time I got to do that last year. The previous year I was not working full time yet, so I missed out on it, and it was a blast being right in the pit, right next to Kane Brown, or who else they had there?
Kane Brown.
Kane Brown.
Kane Brown was the headliner. They had Earl Dibbles Jr.,
Granger Smith, Kit
I'm
Moore.
I'm going to file my Kane Brown under save it.
Kit Moore. No, I mean,
I'm with you.
Kane Brown.
Whatever. Kit, if you don't like Kit Moore, whatever. But I mean,
I love
Kit Moore.
I love
that
Kit
experience. That experience is just freaking priceless. Being 3 feet away from these people as they're just killing it on stage.
Yeah,
it was.
That's awesome.
Granger Smith stole the show last year. It was shortly after his son was killed.
Yeah. Yep.
And he came out and just killed it. Just tore the place up. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
He put Kane Brown to shame. And
What
he
was-
wasn't even a headliner?
What was really cool there, and I don't think a lot of people that I mean, we're way off hunting right now, but a lot of people that couldn't see it, is he had his family there. Like they travel with him. So like in between like music breaks, he'd go and like hang with his family, or they'd do like a huddle, and just
That's
kind of
awesome.
like we got to see the behind the scenes stuff that goes on at these shows too that you don't even know about,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
He's a good
yeah.
dude.
So I mean, really going back to the black stamp, I mean, it's just we do anything that we can try and get our hands on. So
Yeah.
we love the
All right,
hunting
man.
industry, but
Whatever it takes to pay the bills.
yeah.
All right, B, what's your busted time? What's a pain in your ass right now, other than Mancl besting you on shed?
Trying to get Wi-Fi.
The whole Mancl busting me on sheds is kind of a pain in my ass right now. But no, in all seriousness, just put that back there. In all
Put that back.
seriousness, I don't have the editing capabilities that Mike and Dylan and now JP's even getting involved in. I'm more of partner relations, so I talk to all the companies that we work with on the Breaking Point side. And right now is crunch time as far as negotiating and dealing with all the marketing people for these companies that we work with, and really trying to nail down what 2020 looks like. Because right now, with a lot of the companies we work with, we might have some of them in place, but others we don't, and that's pretty stressful when it's a pretty substantial part of our income as far as me, Mike, and Dylan. So it's puts a lot of stress on all of us right now because there's a lot of unanswered questions. You have an idea and you think you know how certain things are going to play out, but you don't know. So I would say that's like the biggest challenge I've got right now is, just trying to work through the next couple of months of dealing with all the companies that we work with that ultimately allow us to do what we do.
It gets to like a whole different level too of stress when you're doing it full time though.
Yeah.
And you have like two other guys relying on to like support them and their families.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, Dylan was the only one of us that was full time, and we felt pretty comfortable taking Dylan on full time or having Dylan go full time. But now, like last year, Mike jumped to full time, and now I'm full time. It's like a whole different level of, concern.
A lot of responsibility. Nothing like I never thought it would. Nothing like I ever thought it would be like managing a business full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that side people need to, that's the side people don't see is, they look at Mike and Dylan, they might know that, hey, they produce our shows and stuff, and now Brennen's full time. What does he do? I mean, that's the big question. Even a couple of my buddies like, okay, Brennen goes full time. What's he doing? Well, he's our customer guy, because a lot of times, before Brennen was full time, it was you meet with the sponsors or our contacts once a year, maybe at ATA, and you might sit down, have a meeting, but you might have maybe one or two conversations all year after that. There's no conversations in between there other than, hey, this is what we got. Okay, set in stone, done. But we need a guy there to say, hey, have that communication, build those relationships, because we love to have relationships with our companies that we work with. But if we don't have the time and the people to do that, it's hard to do that. So that's where Brennen comes in, and I think it's a big help. And I think a lot of his stuff gets, unnoticed where it shouldn't. I mean, he's working just as hard as the other guys. But
side note, I've tried editing and stuff, and Mike and Dylan are so far ahead of me that I just pretty much gave up. I'm like, I can't keep up with you guys. I don't want to put out some half-ass shit when you guys are putting out what you're putting out. It doesn't make any sense for me to try to keep up with them at this point. I feel like they're so far ahead of what I'm capable of doing.
We're 6-7 years ahead of you on
I've
editing.
kind of got a knack, or at least I like to think I do, have a knack for talking to people. So that's kind of where I stay on that side of the business, and those guys take care of all the post-production stuff. So, but yeah, to sum it up, my busted time is getting through the next month or two as far as negotiating what 2020 looks like with a lot of the companies we work with in the outdoor industry.
All right, boys, we're going to move on to our next segment for tonight's episode, and we call that Blood Trails and blood trails for us is just we all have goals, something we have in mind that we're working toward, and we're going to talk about what exactly we're doing along our blood trail to meet our desired end. Tonight we're going to start off with myself. My big blood trail, like I mentioned earlier, we got a birthday party coming tomorrow. A bunch of kids coming to play in the creek, catch some crawdads and stuff. So I'm gonna be working on entertaining everybody, grilling. We got some elk steaks thawing out. I'm gonna be doing kebabs with those, some aged venison, some shrimp. I'll be doing all the grilling for that. And I also have that big jiu-jitsu tournament on Sunday, so that's a big thing for me. Just first time doing that. Excited to go mess around with people from all over and kind of get out there and see what I got. It's always fun to compete. Every man likes that. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. I don't have any idea what it's going to end up like, but I am looking forward to probably being humbled, trying not to get choked to death. I'm with a bunch of younger guys, but I am definitely bringing a truckload of dad strong to the table. So we'll see what happens.
Are you rolling up in a minivan?
No minivans. No, sir. Nope. We are looking at a Chevy Express, though, for our future endeavors. Going full size.
What's that? Is that like
full size van, like a 12 passenger.
Do you like live in that or?
Holy shit.
No, you probably would live in it, but no, we're going to use it to get from place to place.
So it's okay. So it's a 12-person van. Does it have like 5 or 6 rows of seats, or what's going on there?
It's got a few, yeah. It's got a few, but we're looking at them because they come with a big V8. We're gonna pull the camper around with it. I know we talked about that last time, getting that camper. So we're looking forward to that. My wife's got a Lexus SUV right now, so she's really looking forward to switching over to the Chevy Express.
Is it white?
I hope so. I don't know. We haven't got it yet. We're just looking at them. I hope it's white, and I'm just going to plaster the side of it with 6-packs and racks.
Better than free candy.
It's got 2 sides.
So
you know, if you show up
for
in a newspaper somewhere, it's going to kill this podcast.
If I show up what?
I said if you show up in a newspaper somewhere with free candy on the side of your van, our podcast is down the shitter.
Oh, come on. All publicity is good publicity. All right, next we're going to move on to JP. What do you got for your blood trail this week? What are you working toward in the next 7 days?
Ooh, I would just have to say just taking the time to spend time with family and just relax for a little bit. I don't get to spend time with my brother. I'm actually 6, almost 7 years older than him. So being able to come down here, it's the first time I've been here. He's been here for 8 months or so playing baseball. So just being able to get over here, spend time with him, it's not much. Like I'm sure he's running out on town right now, has no clue where I'm at, but just being able to be in town, hang out and enjoy the off season per se. Just hang out.
Here we are doing a podcast, taking you from him.
Yeah. No, it's no big deal. It's probably better than what he's doing.
But
no,
sure.
it's that time of year where you gotta take time out of your season to just hang out and chill with everybody and make time for family, because I think a lot of times you get so wrapped up and it's not just our lifestyle, it's everybody's lifestyle. You get wrapped up in the work side of things, and next thing you know, there's no time for hanging out with people you like to hang out with, your family, your friends, and all that stuff. So I would say that's my blood trail for the week. Just hang out and really enjoy the downtime and get ready. I mean, it's about to turn tables again and get into the trade show and the spring turkey, and then that flows right into everything else, and we do it again for another year. So that's my blood trail for the week.
Your brother plays for Michigan State?
No, so he plays for Lansing, but Lansing Community College. It's a 2-year college, but he lives right on Michigan State's campus, so we're about 2 minutes away from Michigan State. So that's where he's hoping to end up as at Michigan State. But
Yeah.
So yeah, the party lifestyle is big here.
Yeah.
And
I had
I'm
had
sure
some
where he's
friends.
at.
I had some friends when I was younger that played baseball for Lansing Community College.
Oh, yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's a pretty cool scenery around here. I mean, he's got the apartment they're in. It's a baseball apartment. I mean, its apartment's better than I've seen a lot of my friends live in. Like, got a free pool outside, got everything. I'm like, can I just move to Michigan and live with you? That'd be all right.
All right, man. Well, that's awesome. Spitzley, what's your blood trail this week?
Well, I'd have to say the next 7 days, I'm just gonna try to keep this podcast rolling, uh, editing this show and getting Dylan's on roll. But other than that, it's spending time with family. Next week, like I had mentioned, I'm gonna be gone for the week, so um, I've got I've got a rough edit to finish before I leave, and then getting this podcast edited. And other than that, I'm going to be spending time with family because I'll be gone for a week. So that's about it, man.
You're going to be at that big Squirrel Master.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect. I'd imagine it's going to be a pretty good time. But,
I'm sure. I'm sure, man. Those guys are laid back. You're going to enjoy yourself for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Pretty excited.
All right, B, what's your blood trail for the week?
I guess really just trying to stay busy as far as doing work on the Black Stamp Media breaking point side of stuff in the middle of what I would call one of my favorite times of the year, which is shed hunting. So for me, when I was working a 9-to-5 job, I had a lot of flexibility as far as leaving work early and going and looking for antlers all the time. And if Mike and Dylan bothered me, I would say, I'm not full time like you guys. I can do whatever the hell I want. Well, now I'm full time, so I have responsibilities. And this time of the year, it's sometimes hard for me to stay focused because I want to spend as much time as I can in the woods, walking, looking for deer antlers. So I guess my blood trail is staying on task for the coming weeks, if that
Now,
makes sense.
It does. It does. When you talk about shed hunting, I know you love finding antlers, but you're also doing that on properties that you hunt. So your secondary focus is learning buck activity.
And that's kind of how I pitch it to the boss man and Dylan is what I'm doing. They don't understand it. I think they do, but no, it really is the way I look at it, anyways. What shed hunting brings to the table eventually leads to success, which eventually pays our bills through the breaking point side of things. So I look at it as work, extremely fun work, but still work. But yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. So I appreciate you taking my back on this.
That makes sense, man. Makes sense to me.
That's a better way to look at it for sure.
But no, in all reality, I shed hunt properties that I hunt probably 10% of the time. The rest of it is land I don't hunt, deer that I don't know, that I never will know. I just like getting out and looking for deer antlers. Even if it's the properties, even if it's not the properties that I hunt, it gives me a better understanding of why deer are doing what they're doing. And even if it ain't where I'm hunting, it kind of all comes full circle to where I am hunting, and I can kind of put that all together.
Yeah. You're making it a lot harder to sell.
I don't care. It is what it is.
I heard 10% of the properties.
I'm not. I feel like you already knew that. It's probably less than 10%. I mean, I shed hunt the properties that I hunt on maybe 4 or 5 days out of the year.
Yeah.
In all reality.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the common guy though, like that's one of the reasons that everybody gets into shed hunting. You know, I've
Yeah.
had some messages from people asking why you guys shed hunt or whatever. Why would you get into that? And that's really it. You kind of nailed it. You know, just getting into figuring out where the bucks you're after are moving and trying to make a pattern on them for next year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, a mature deer is a mature deer. I mean, they all have, in my opinion, they all have the same mindset as far as where they're hanging out and why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah, every parcel of land's a little bit different, but in the grand scheme of things, if you sit back and really analyze what you're doing and where you're finding things, and it makes sense. I mean, you have to sit back and really pay attention. You're not just going out and picking up antlers and going home and not thinking about it. You're constantly thinking about it. Like,
Yeah. Well,
that's why I love
just
it.
watching on social media, it looks like you guys just go out, dick around, and come back with a pile of antlers.
Typically, I would say up until the last like 2 years, the breaking point side of things, we never showed anything shed hunting. Mostly because I'm the only one in the group that was like a big shed hunter. Mike's getting into it now. Dylan could care less about shed antlers. JP, I don't think he much cares about them. Brandon, he does a little bit, but those guys didn't give a shit that I was out shed hunting. They thought I was all nuts. So I just went out, and then all of a sudden they're like, shed hunting's like a big thing. Like social media's catching on to it. We need to promote it. And I'm like, I don't want to promote it. I like shed hunting. I'm selfish about it. I don't want other people doing this. Like, I want the sheds.
Yeah.
But now it's like,
here's an example is last spring, Brennan, I was at your house and we stacked them up and I ran a time lapse. I ran a time lapse and I've never shared it, never put it anywhere, just of us stacking his sheds that he has. And like when I asked him about it, he kind of looked at me like, "Are you nuts? Like you better not share this." I'm like, "I'm not scared. I just want it for my own personal preference because this shit is badass." Like
I noticed
how
on
many
one of
sheds
your,
you got? Like, that's
it was
awesome.
one of your shed hunting vlogs, you were sitting next to a pile, like a absolute pile. I think it was as big as a Christmas tree. And I thought that was badass. But yeah, like you said, you don't ever advertise it at all. But I know that you find a shitload of sheds. But that makes sense.
I remember he sent me either a text or a video last year. That big ass pile fell over in the middle of the night, didn't it?
that's a whole other story in itself. So, I was sleeping on the couch that night, which I sleep on the couch quite a bit, and my stack of antlers was in the living room. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, it was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. All of a sudden, it sounded almost like a bolt of lightning, like when it hits the ground. But it wasn't the pile falling over; it was the pile starting to fall over. It like all of a sudden something just shifted in the pile, and all of a sudden I woke up and I knew what was happening. I looked over and I'm only probably like, holy shit, it's coming down. That thing crashed down on the floor and landed right in front of my couch, and my whole living room was covered in antlers. I was shit my pants. No, I don't. Aside from my close friends and my hunting buddies, there's not too many people that have seen my collection of antlers because I don't look for antlers to advertise it to other people. Like those antlers are honestly like they mean something to me. You could go into my stack of antlers and you could pick one out and I could probably tell you the day I found it and I could definitely tell you where I found it.
You probably don't you have them written down on the base too? Don't you write something on there?
I just write the years on the base, which a lot of people frown on that because they say once you write on the base, they lose a lot of value, which means jack shit to me because I would never sell it.
You're going to keep them anyway, so.
But I have a journal from all the years I've been shed hunting, and I, write down the days I find them, where I find them, all that stuff. So
that's cool.
A lot more to me than, a lot of people I feel like these days look for antlers because they know there's money involved now.
My first shed I ever found is in that pile.
Did you go out and hide it for him, B?
I found it, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. You can. He's like, I'll give you $20 for it. It was like it was literally a fucking.
Was that in the apple orchard?
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
That was the first shit I ever found. And he's like, I'll give you $20 for it. It was literally a nice buck. It had a big base and a brow tine, and the whole beam was busted off.
It had a
Oh,
kicker.
And it was literally this big. He's like,
I'll give you $20 for it.
I don't give a shit.
It had a kicker point that was probably 6 inches long that came straight out. Like, I don't have a good example here, but straight out the base, it would have been a kicker that went straight sideways, and the rest of the antler, the main beam, everything was gone. So it was just a kicker from the base like that. It's freaking sweet.
That is sweet.
The truth comes out, you bought most.
I kind of want that back.
$20
No.
a piece.
Yeah.
That was before I cared about shins.
All right, Mancl, you're up next, buddy. What's your blood trail for the next 7 days? What are you looking forward to getting done, and how you get there?
I've been actually on the way out here in North Dakota. We were doing a little research on base map for some stuff down in Iowa. I mentioned kind of in the last podcast that I'm gonna be drawing an Iowa deer tag this year, and just kind of want to try something different down there and looking at different units to hunt and public and stuff like that, and just seeing what kind of options are where and where I want to put in for. Still kind of doing a little more research on other things in some of the other states when to apply. So I guess my big goal is kind of just trying to nail my fall down. This time of year, more than anything, is when I start really thinking about it a lot. I'm big into kind of planning it out 6-8 months in advance. So I can assure I have a certain amount of tags I want to have this fall to hopefully be successful a few times. So that's all I really
good,
got
man.
for you, man.
Perfect. I love it. All right, boys. Well, as we always do, we're going to close out this episode with our final segment. We call it Cracking Cold Ones.
I
Cheers
just
to
opened
us.
this one too, so.
Cheers to you, boys. I appreciate you taking the time to get in on this podcast, join in, and just hang out. And thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. We really appreciate it. We're glad to have you jump in the circle with us and just chill for a minute.
Tell them where to find us, Coach.
Tell them where to find us. Six Packs and Racks on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Number 6 Packs and Racks. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. What am I missing, Spitzley?
You got them all. Oh, Google Play.
Ooh, Google Play. Find
pretty
us
much
there.
all the podcast hosts. Yep.
Yep. We're up live on audio on all those now. YouTube.
Thanks to Spitzley.
Yes, thanks to Spitzley. Follow
It's not a problem.
the Breaking Point on YouTube. Subscribe to their channel. You'll see our videos come up whenever we post one. So that's pretty much it, man.